Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yo, it is.
What it is, big man? Are you alive and kicking?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Big fixture this weekend. The Avengers are coming together. So, yeah. Sounds about lit.
Yes.
I've been telling my boss, chief, believe me, I'm not even here, man.
Whatever you need me to do.
Everything, I'm trying my best, but I'm just telling you now. My mind is at the beach. I've got sand between my toes, bro.
No, we look forward to it. Might as well just lean into the housekeeping since you already got us there.
Yeah. First of all, say hi to the people, man. We have to greet Ivanka. It's a family meeting. So, guys, welcome back. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo.
My name is Senna.
And yeah, we're back again. To do the things fuck off to Cape Town. But anyway, Mr. Moyo, you mentioned housekeeping. Guys, just PSA, we're putting it out there right now. Unfortunately, we will not have an episode next week because, space. We will not be available. So yeah. Just have a small something to take care of next week, So
Small thing, yes, nothing major.
Small business arrangement. That's it.
Asonto is serious.
Nah. Just vibes,
Yeah, it might actually be 2 weeks, but
it might be 2 weeks. But for now, we'll keep it at 1 week. It is what it is, guys. Use the opportunity to catch up on some episodes. Catch up on Feeling Station, catch up on Girl in Skies. And yeah, it's do what you can. But yeah, we will miss you guys as much as you guys would miss us. But yeah, we're just letting you know. At least this time there's warning. It's not a surprise. Where it's just like how. We always have a listener who's ready to send unkind words as soon as the podcast can't find it. Looking refresh. So
Friday at 10. I know that if the podcast is not out Friday at 10,
fam,
we are going to be getting it from all angles.
It's like how at home. So I mean, we interpret it as love. It might not be love, but we interpret it as love. But yeah, Mr. Moore.
I interpret it as violence.
I know, I interpret it as love. The African way. Tonight we don't know how to communicate properly. But it wasn't violence, unfortunately. But anyway, it's all good. Let's get into the first topic. Just something that we didn't touch on last week when we were talking about this whole Oscars thing. But it's less so about the Oscars, but something obviously we know what the catalyst is for what we're about to get into. But it's something that, generally speaking, we tend to hear. So I was interested to hear your take. So a lot of people, when the slap went down, right, said that Will was embarrassing the Black community. Like we as a community took an L, and there's a bunch of things that have happened in different times, where people will express that and say, oh, nah, that's, we look like all we know is violence as a community and stuff like that. And I saw lots of, TikToks and videos on Twitter of people saying, oh, Black people need to, free themselves from the shackles of, white people's, what are white people going to say type of thing, which I thought was valid, but also I was kind of in the middle in terms of that. Because of the bigger implications at the end of the day. But I just wanted to get initially, what were your general thoughts in terms of, is that a thing? Can you single-handedly embarrass the Black community? Or do you think, it's an isolated incident whenever anything happens?
Um, I think my initial thoughts on this was, like I think the latter part of your comment, Uguti, we should stop trying to sort of judge ourselves through the white people lens, if that makes sense. Because generally, as a society, we're more expressive.
Yeah.
I think even Bill Burr once mentioned it in one of his stand-ups, Uguti, when a woman is a woman, but then because he's married to a black woman, there's more hand gestures and more attitude and more whatever, when it comes to them. But then I think that the more I've thought about it, right, the more it does, and I hate to say this, right, but have you ever heard of that thing with as abantu abamnyama, sometimes we don't have maybe a sense of occasion.
What do you mean?
Chris Rock actually has a stand-up where he talks about niggas being rowdy and all these things, right? Which is funny because at the Oscars, he's on quarter clap via that way.
Yeah.
So it's like usually you get a situation where we're just generally less obliged to comply to sort of white people standards of what's considered decorum. We didn't grow up in environments that were like that oftentimes, right? So then we'll get somewhere and then we'll be black people talking, making noise, and then people will be like, you guys are rowdy, right? So I can see how that perspective comes to be. I don't think we should be embarrassed about it, but this is me speaking more generally, like not in relation to the world thing. I'll come to the world thing just now. But we shouldn't be embarrassed when we're, in a space and we're being black, and then people are like, we're rowdy.
But I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day,
in this instance, right? Yeah.
I think
I'm about to say no. In this instance with Will and Chris,
yeah,
I think it's not like the whole black community was things. I think that's just Will. I don't think a lot of white people are coming at black people for that kind of behavior. They were saying, well, because that conduct in any space, in any sphere, is not accepted.
True.
It's whether you're black or you're white, you can't act and behave in that way. And I think it's unfair to then, if he acts that way, to paint all black people with that same brush. But then I'm not to say that it doesn't. It does happen sometimes where, maybe we don't have that sense of occasion or that sense of decorum in terms of white people standards, and then we'll be judged unfairly on that basis. I think in this instance, it's unfair to say all black people are, because how many times has Chris Rock hosted the freaking Oscars? How many times have black people had BET awards and all these things where people are roasted? No one's ever gone up and punched someone on the stage, right?
No.
That was Will by himself. And I think we should separate him from the rest of the crowd.
I mean, I agree with you on a few points, right? Where it's like, I think I didn't. You mentioned Wuti, I didn't hear a lot of white. Again, I'm not on white Twitter, so who knows? Maybe it was there, but I didn't hear a lot of chatter about white people saying, "Oh wow, black owners, this is what you are doing." You know what I mean? So I didn't hear any of that chatter, but I heard a lot of black people say, "Hey, during the people." You know what I mean? So I heard a lot of that.
Yeah,
and
I saw a lot of that.
It's that typical. Our parents have this attitude. You know what I mean? Like they were always, even amongst other black people, they'll be like, you know what I mean? Like if a kid is throwing a tantrum, it's less about a kid throwing the tantrum, right? And more about, you are embarrassing me, or you're embarrassing us.
Yeah.
So I think it is a mentality that we definitely have. Obviously, it's something that has been ingrained in our parents for a very long time, which has now come on to us. But I think we are the generation of change, where a lot of people are trying to change these things, but a lot of us also still do have that mentality where it's like, oh man, you just sent the black community back, a couple steps, which might not necessarily have been the case, right? But then I think...
True, and that's why...
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I agree with you in the sense that that's why I started by saying we shouldn't feel bad for if it's just behavior that it's just what we do, right? If it's just us living our lives, it's us dancing at the beach, and then all of a sudden some white guy comes and says, "Ah, you guys are making noise,"
Yeah.
whatever. Like, we're in a public space at the beach. There's no need to come at us about
True.
this, right? Like,
True.
it's
True.
fine. But when
agree.
it goes to what Will did,
Yeah.
then it's also unfair to then say abantu abamnyama sonke sinje. But then I get it.
Yeah, no,
What you're saying about our parents' mentality.
He definitely, look, Will went too far. So Will is an outlier because obviously,
Yeah.
by anybody's standard, you cannot slap someone, you cannot assault someone, period. No matter what, color, age, doesn't matter. That's assault is assault. We've all agreed as a society. That's not how and that's not how black people roll in general as well. Even though there were a lot of people saying, yeah, he deserved to get slapped, and I was like, guys, like there's no justification.
But it is okay for us to. It is okay for us to feel embarrassed in that way, though.
Yes, absolutely.
I
think embarrassment is okay. It is. It absolutely is okay because it is an embarrassing moment, right? It's like that's at the end of the day, like a lot of the attitude amongst black people is like, if I see Senna's one of our own. You know, I see another black person, boy, girl, whatever. That's one of our own. You know what I mean? Like it's so if something happens to a Will Smith, and I felt bad for Will Smith because I was like, bro, like this man is going through something mentally, and then I felt even worse for Chris Rock because obviously you've just been smacked on the biggest stage in television, and you know it's like, bro, that shit has happened. So I think, you know, obviously credit to him for not doing anything back, because then I think that's, if it turned into an all-out brawl, then I think as black people, time we might be taking an L because it's just not a good look. I mean, it just wouldn't have been a good look to have.
You think
two
if he hit him
niggas on
back, it would have been
stage.
even worse?
Yeah, no, then it's tough. Then it's tough because it's like, at least if it's one person, Chris turns the other cheek, I think it's a lot more palatable in the sense that, hey, nah, my man was going through it. Chris went a bit too far, and you know, whatever. But it's like, hey, listen, get your toilet, isolated incident. But then, if it's
do you think white people say that in their circles?
I think they do. I think they do because I think a lot of people credited how, in as much as, because white people cannot say with the look, niggas are wild, right? Because a nigga got slapped and literally carried himself with the utmost dignity and professionalism going forward, right? So you can't be like, oh, hey, I want to love. I think it was a one of those things where you can look at Will and be like, nah, this one has got a problem. Of which, everybody has problems, right? No matter the race, people have problems, and you can move on, and it is what it is. But if it turned into an all-out fight, bama, then it would have been, even though Chris Rock would have been absolutely justified to clap back, no pun intended. But like it would have been a bad look. It just would have been a bad look because it's just, I'll bring it closer to home. You know what I mean? Like, so obviously we know the tension between the Ndebele and Shona tribes, yeah, and we have certain, as Ndebele people, we have certain stereotypes of Shona people and vice versa, right? And if Ndebele own comes into a Shona circle, right, and the Shona guys are like, right, as thing any look, and then Ndebele own is actually guys, as thing in lady, chippy lady, and what, you know what I mean? Like it feeds into a stereotype where it's just kind of like niggas like, of which and what my understanding of what a lot of people are saying is that shit doesn't matter if that individual Ndebele person is cheap, right? Then that individual is cheap. It don't involve the rest of us, right? It doesn't. It doesn't involve Senna, it doesn't involve me. Asingeni lab, right? But some of those things are there. Like it's especially when I'll even say from like with this whole like an intertribal marriage and stuff like that. Small things happen. Something, right? Or you go to Lobola and the Lobola was wild. Like it immediately, you know what I mean? Immediately that shit be coming because people have those saved in drafts. You know what I mean? Like and I think if you expand it out, I'm sure white people have certain things saved in drafts. So if you have Chris Rock and Will Smith say China, I'm sure they would have let some shit fly out. That's the problem when you let niggas host the Oscars. as wrong as it is, no one is saying what like I'm just saying, I'm just narrating a transcript of what would likely happen, and then whether or not you're saying, because some people are saying regardless, niggas should still not care. Whatever happens with us is whatever happens with us, period. Some people might be like that. I mean, I'm more 50-50 because I'm like, again, optics do matter because the sun will rise again in kusasa. Right? So you might be here, I don't give a fuck, hey, guatin. But the kusasa, what happens when these men are looking for gigs? What about that? You know? When they're not looking for work. And then and it literally could have the way society is set up right now, right? The way white privilege is set up right now. I think it's irresponsible to tell somebody black, oh yeah, act however you want to act. Oh, wow, that's us. That's, it's whatever, right? Who cares? If that's how you want to act like that. Because there's consequences to every action. A white guy can afford to have a brawl on stage. You know what I mean? He can afford to do that. But I don't know if that same luxury would be afforded
unfair, then?
To a black person. I just don't think so. Again, call me a skeptic, but personally, if that thing turned into a whole brawl, I'm pretty sure there would have been some very stiff rules, and I don't know if we would have seen another, black person, with given those type of in different. And again, it's not like it's an Oscars thing. It would be because the whole world saw it. It would be in so many different ways that the black community was impacted.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, you kind of do have to keep these things in mind. I feel like it's as unfair as it is. I think there is some level of social responsibility. I think maybe it's not as black and white as our parents made it seem, but I think there is some sort of like, I can't over-rev here.
Oh, no, there is.
You
see it with Barack, right, when he was president, right? He wouldn't have gotten away with half the things that JFK, Nixon, Trump as well, dog. Yeah. Like, all that shit. Like, if he did...
Imagine if Obama got head in the Oval Office from some hand,
Bro, what?
Who's not
from
Michelle.
some hand?
Bruh.
Dog.
What do you mean?
Clinton survived that shit because he's a white man. Yeah. But at the same time, the way black people love Bill Clinton is the funniest thing, right? Because they think that he was persecuted like a black man, and also he's a Democrat. So they're like, Bill... Uncle Bill, he's also black. But then if he was actually black, if he was actually a nigga,
it would have been curtains.
Fam.
It would have been curtains.
It would have been like, this is why black people should never rule. This is why. Barack had to be the perfect statesman, the perfect family man, the perfect everything.
And you know who's most frustrated with Barack in terms of demographics? It was the black community.
Yeah.
They were the most frustrated with Barack because... Wow. A lot of his policies were centrist. They were all kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be unapologetically black type of thing, which I completely understood.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, bruh, like anything that you do, if he
was the first black guy.
And it's just like, he really was in a situation where he had to just kind of keep things chilled. Unfortunately, I'm sure he would have wanted to do a lot more, things, but really, a black man in office, anything that he would have done, it's just one of the, like, it's kind of like being a coach if you're a parent and you're coaching your son's team, right? If your son is kind of, or daughter is kind of mediocre, you can't have them start, because the moment that you have them in the starting 11 or the starting 5, what are people going to say? Oh, it's because Mdaga coach. And it's like, it's unfair, but you have to kind of straddle that line all the time. And you have to keep that in mind. You can't then be like, yes, he is my son, so what? I'm putting him in the starting 11. That won't fly, Unfortunately, it just won't fly. But
I'm so grateful. My boy, shout out to my friend Niles. Niles' dad used to work at CBC, and I can't imagine how.
Real quick, shout out to Patrick Vieira.
Oh yes, by the way, Vieira did the things.
Shout out to Big Man.
I used to always think, like, to myself, Uguti, what's it like having like your teacher at school, like
your dad?
Because at one time, like Oh, yeah, sorry, your dad is a teacher at school. The one time we were getting cuts together, and then they sent us to his dad to give us cuts. So the funniest thing is, so we're all like watching expectedly to see how Mr. Nyoni deals with his own son. Is he gonna beat him like the rest of us? Is it gonna be easy? Is it gonna be harder?
Yeah.
What's the story? And he literally hit him like the rest of us. But just because we're all like super aware, I always felt like even him at school, he also had to kind of move differently, just because my dad's a teacher at school.
Yeah.
And he's also an exec at the school. You can't just do whatever you want or whenever you want, type of thing. And I'm thinking about it now, and it's the same, right? When you have to be aware of which, yeah, I'm black. The space is different. I must move in a particular way. The first woman's president, for example, that person will have to be. I don't want to say perfect, but
No,
we
I don't
already
think she'll
have
have
an
to be
idea.
perfect. But I think
But we already have an idea of the kind of person she'll have to be.
around. It's only around
kind of have
certain
the soft-
issues, though. That's the thing. It's around specific issues, and if because I don't think you can be. I don't think a woman, for example, if we're talking about president of America, right?
Yeah.
I don't think a woman can be president of America with very aggressive, feminist policies, for example, right? If you aggressively want to come in and change up the corporate climate because there's not enough women in top positions, you're not going to make it, period. You're just not going to make it, And even if you're trying to suggest those policies, look at Ulokuzin, Bernie, right? Bernie was like, right, to me, I want to get rid of student debt, clear, all these students who are suffering under, $70,000
Free
for school, or free healthcare. Niggas like, the fuck we mean free healthcare, bro? Like, when you're trying to upset the apple cart, whether it's race, whether it's gender, whether it's, all these things where I think it goes against the norm, right? Or goes against capitalism and all these other things, there's always going to be roadblocks, and you're going to have to, try to tiptoe along that line. So even if you are a woman president, you can't just come in aggressive like, right, really, all the banks in Lokuzen, on Wall Street, I want, female CEOs. They'll be like, like really, there would be no
You're
story.
lying.
But you would need to be smart about it. Where it's like, all right, cool. How do we, massage the situation to try and move my agenda? Like, you have to keep these things in mind. Like, I don't think you can just operate, and that's where I get uncomfortable with when people just say, nah, fuck that shit. Hey, it doesn't matter what white people think. I mean, yeah, it kind of does. Because white people are the gatekeepers to a lot of shit in the world. If you're in South Africa and you want to work for a top tier company in a top tier position and make money, there's a high likelihood that the man above you happens to be a white guy. So you can't be out here, oh, my free hair, my afro. Hey, I'm like, okay, chief, wear your afro, yeah?
But then,
if that ends up costing you a job, and again, please don't get me as me saying, people must just conform. I'm just saying, when we say, hey, listen, fuck that shit, do what you want, in the same breath, also mention there could be consequences too. Just mention that so that it's like, all right, cool. If you choose to do what you want to do, more power to you. I fully support you, right, for trying to break the wheel. But Colin Kaepernick tried to break the wheel in the NFL. Yeah. That man hasn't played a single game since 2016 or 2017, whenever he started kneeling. And not a single game, bruh. And you see random articles, hey, Colin Kaepernick worked out for this team. Hey, he wants to still play in the NFL. Nothing. Ain't nobody going to give him a chance. Because at the end of the day...
6 years later.
Yeah, there's no story, bruh. Or when you have to... He did the right thing. He did an amazing thing, right? Which to me, I always sit and I wonder. I'm like, bruh, why are you still looking for a job in the NFL? You knew if you even sued the NFL and won. And you scheme those balies, those old white men are going to be like, all right, cool. 1-1. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. you know? But it doesn't mean that we're not supporting what Kaepernick did. And in every single scenario that we talked about, we support that. But all Salah is that I think let's not move around like consequences don't exist. Because consequences do. The unfortunate reality is that the world is set
I guess
up
my
in a
question
certain
would
way.
be until when do we have to then move in, where blackness has to move with an apology in a way, right? Someone actually once said this to me, having lived in both Cape Town and Joburg. So what actually happens with Cape Town, right? A lot of black people move down here and then they move back to Joburg. It's just the way it goes. Professionally, there's more money in Joburg, but at the same time, someone said, Wuti, living in Cape Town, I always felt like I had to suppress my blackness, and my blackness had to move with an apology, and it had to, sorry ma'am, sorry sir, and you always had to sort of comply and
That sounds like
swallow
some chakra
yourself
hand
to
shit.
fit
My blackness
into-
had to move. Like, why don't you move with an apology?
Hey, but I get it, dog. So that person, I understood what they meant, right? I may not necessarily feel that way, but I get what they meant. That your blackness has to be sort of suppressed so that you can fit into the white standard of what it's like to live in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And I remember I even had a conversation with my boss about this. I was like, this is the reality if you're a black person in Cape Town and if you're a black person in Joburg. When you're in Joburg, you fit in seamlessly and everywhere you turn as a black person, doing well, successful, and they're just moving freely. They don't have to speak in English so other people are comfortable.
Yeah.
In fact, in Joburg, the amazing thing in Joburg, you can speak to anyone in whatever language, bazokuphendula. Unless you're at a taxi rank. Taxi rank, you speak in Zulu. Don't do anything else.
Pela. Don't come and perform for us.
But anywhere else, the funny thing in Joburg, you can get there and you'll be like Dumelang, someone will be like Sawubona, or you'll be like Sawubona, they say Dumelang, and you speak, and then you sort of understand each other and you have a conversation in different languages. And then that person was just like, no, in Cape Town, I left just because I felt like, I am not being free here. But then in Joburg, you can be. You're free to be yourself. You're free to be as black as you want, to have dreadlocks when you walk into the office and no one's going to say anything, or to have your afro out. No one says stuff about that now, but hey, in Cape Town, you might just feel like, I need to conform. And it's little things like that. That's why I'm like, until when then do we have to conform to white standards for fear of embarrassing other black people or making black people look bad or attracting criticism?
So listen, to answer your question, I think for as long as they are the gatekeepers, right? Because again, if you flip it, and it was black people as the gatekeepers, right? Then, and we're telling white people, hey, listen, this thing of gelling your hair, bro, this doesn't work over here, bro. We don't do that shit. Then, if they were serious, they would stop putting gel in their hair, right? It would be the same thing. If those are the standards that we impose, and we say, right, if you want to make it to the top, my guy, this is what you need to look like. This is what you need to sound like. If we're like, right, if you don't know how to speak a second African language in this country, if you speak English kuphela or Afrikaans and that's it, fam, you're not getting anywhere. These men would be fluently speaking Zulu. We have evidence of white people who fluently speak Ndebele or Zulu, So the ones who are serious about it and actually put time and effort into it, they can actually do it. So we know it can be done. We know it's not some theoretical don, right? We have a basis. We know people who are very good at speaking the language because they actually gave a fuck and they wanted to. So I think if we were the gatekeepers, then they would have to conform. So it's the same thing. They are the gatekeepers at the moment for certain economic opportunities. And you have to make that decision within yourself to say, right, now what do I want? Do I want to be a revolutionary? Or do I want to, live a good life, make some money, and hey, listen, if I had to sacrifice a bit of myself, it was worth it. I think everybody has to have has had that conversation with themselves at some point, depending on the situation that you're in. You might be in a great situation where you never had to have that conversation. But if you live, for example, like you said, in Cape Town, you do have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, chief, what's it going to be? Am I going to be a revolutionary? Am I Malcolm X? Or am I conforming? And again, to be clear, I don't think there's a wrong or right answer. You know, because what you decide is what you decide.
Yeah.
You know, because no one can come and tell you, hey, fuck that shit. We're black, nigga. That's not gonna put money on your plate. What if that person has look as student debt, and then uzumtshela ukuthi nah, hamba ungela weave. It's okay, girl. Hey, snap on Twitter, and then umuntu looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, everybody should have the freedom to make
I get what you
decisions, and it is what it is. But I think I don't think you can move as anything that's an extreme in its extreme form. I don't think is good. I'm not pro any extreme right or extreme left. I think I'm more in the middle, calculated. Let's figure things out. It's a give and take.
But you see,
I think that's what the world
that doesn't bring about change, though, right? So, I mean, if Mandela also sat and looked at those apartheid laws and says, "Ish, guys, I don't want anything that's controversial, so
true,
just stay as we are." You know, you won't bring change that way. You know,
I mean, yeah,
just
but
to
then
conform. Let's just.
But not everyone wants to be a revolutionary. That's why we only have one Mandela, is it? Right? That's why we have certain people.
But you have strength in
numbers,
numbers, right?
True, but then, Senna, at the end of the day, if there would be change if the situation wasn't people sacrificing economic gain, right? There would be change. Yeah. You and me would be very different people right now if we could just be unapologetically black all the time and foster change. If there wasn't any threat to be like, that job, that salary that you earn, my guy, time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if that didn't exist, absolutely. So I think we can't pretend as if, and it's okay for people to want to be selfish. You went to school for fucking 4 years, dog. You know what I mean? Like, you want to live a life. At the end of the day, people do want to live a life. People want to be some form of happy, And I don't think it's fair to be like, hey, because there must be, yes, I agree fully. There must be change. We desperately need change. But going about it in an extremist type of way is not going to work. Unless everyone was like, fuck it, I don't care about the money. As Kylie. Then, okay, cool. As Kylie, if we're together. But the problem is, people will be like, as Kylie, 1, 2, 3. And then it's like, actually, just 3 people out of fucking 1,000 who are the revolutionaries.
Yeah.
And then those 3 are sacrificed.
You know, when you actually...
Everybody doesn't look, and everybody turns a blind eye. That's what's going to happen.
When you started actually talking about when you started talking about embarrassing black people, I always thought back about how every black child has that stare they get from their mother when they're wilding. Yeah. You know that look that your mother gives you and you're just acting out
the
of
daggers.
Or you're about to embarrass them, or you're making noise, you're doing something in church, and then they just give you that look that just makes you act right one time.
Once.
Literally.
Always.
I think that's what Thingy needed. That's what Will needed if his mom was there. Just to look at him as he was walking up that stage. Boy.
Shut up, pants. Quickly, you would have sat down. I know when you get those daggers,
made a difference.
You immediately have like a flash, not even a flashback. Yeah, do you ever watch That's So Raven, where you should have premonitions of the future?
Yes.
When your mom gives you that stare, you have a premonition to be like, I could get away with what I'm doing right now in the moment, but the moment we get home, I know it's lit. It's hot for the boy. But anyway, Mr. Moy, we need to keep moving forward. Kickoff is in little over an hour, so right. My second question to you is so when why do honeymoon phases die? When you're jewelering, that first 2 months of the relationship, 3 months even, maybe even 6 for some people, it's just we are cruising nicely. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kumnandi. There's no wrong that she can do. There's no wrong that you can do. Y'all niggas are texting 24/7. Like, everything is just mnandi. Everything. It's just like, fam, I'm walking on water, fam, And at some point, it just starts to, the light starts to dim. Not that there's a loss of attraction or anything like that, but it's just not as, I guess, the infatuation, right, is no longer there about about that person or about the relationship. Again, not to say the relationship is weaker or anything like that, right? But you get what I mean, right? So like, why do you think that happens? Why do honeymoon phases die?
I don't think they. I do think they die. I think people just get comfortable, right? But I don't think it's because they love each other any less. I just think people just stop trying. The things that excited them about the pursuit are no longer there, and then they just, they get comfortable, and then they just chill, bruh. My thoughts with relationships in general, I was telling this a friend last night over the phone. Uguti, I think relationships go through cycles where I think there has to be a particular chase, there's particular purpose that's constantly being sought. That I think keeps the fire burning, in my opinion, right? So, give you an example. Before you start dating, maybe you're looking forward to the prospect of dating, right? I think it's important. I look at these things as renewal periods or renewal points, things that trigger renewal points in a relationship, right? So once you're together, pursuing each other, talking, you're looking forward and you're excited at the prospect of being in a relationship together. Once you get to the relationship, you enjoy that, but I think there should be something you're looking forward to as well, right? So it could be getting married, right? That could be your next renewal point that triggers excitement. And then once you do that, you could look forward to being parents, and then that's another renewal point. And that's why I think a lot of people in marriages always talk about, me and her, we want to travel together, we want to do this and that and X and Y and Z. Because if you keep having like little renewal points, that's why people actually even renew their vows. And you keep having these little renewal points, I think, this is my opinion, I could be wrong, it triggers some excitement, something to look forward to. That's why once you get married, Tabo, I would say, hey, my guy, you and your person should start planning your next adventure, whether it's to Brazil. Then, clearly, you're not in a flux of just comfort sitting on the couch every day. You'll get bored of each other, and obviously the excitement will be drained. Yeah. But if you say, hey, no, babe, I'm really looking forward to going to Brazil with you and taking nice pictures and, doing X, Y, Z, it'll be nice. Then you have something to look for. I think it's important just to always have something that you both look forward to. If it's another kid, if it's one kid, if it's buying a house, if it's decorating a house together, just make sure that there's always something that keeps the love alive.
So essentially what you're saying is what kills a honeymoon phase or even the relationship at large is being stagnant. Is that what you say?
Yeah, being stagnant. Like you're not moving. You because when you were in the talking phase, right, you were moving, right? You were going towards something.
Yeah.
Which was going towards a relationship, which was exciting. Or even when you're flirting, right? You're flirting with the view of doing the things, right? And then once you do the things, post-night clarity hits, and then it's like, okay, what now? If you like the person, you might just say, oh, let's go have breakfast. That's something to look forward to, right? You're just going to be like, all right, so sharp, cool. Okay. Nothing. You're just going to find the person boring, and they won't be, you're not going to be enthused by them. And then over time, it's just like, because you don't do anything. You literally just stuck in this one space of doing the same thing. And then some people don't realize until they've been in the relationship for 7 years, and you're like, all me and this person did was just wake up and did the same thing ever since we started the relationship. We've just been in the same place as Sugang.
You're actually giving me flashbacks to a relationship that I had in the past where my girlfriend at the time did say, oh my God, I feel like the relationship is stagnant. What are we doing? I'm like, my nigga, it's a school, bruh. Like,
What do you mean?
this is where, you know what I mean? There's a ceiling. We can't be, we can't be, in, at least for me, I had priorities, and
Yeah.
the relationship wasn't number one, where it's like, no, hey, we haven't done this or that in forever. It's one of those things where it's like, right, I need to get through school. Because no school, no party. And I lose you regardless, because I'm going to be a broke nigga. And I'm not trying to be a broke nigga. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so certain things I'm like, bruh, like, what do you, so my attitude in that moment was like, bruh, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, you're saying it's stagnant. What can we do? You know? Can't just spontaneously be like, hey, let's pull up to Cancun. Where's the money? Right? Can't, like, all these things where you think of or whatever. It's like, bruh, like, I feel like
Yeah.
there needs to be a professional focus on school and our grind and what we're trying to do.
So
Mm.
in the context of the relationship, was there nothing that you were looking forward to? Like, you know, like,
I
when,
mean,
like right now you're gonna come to Cape
graduating,
Town.
bruh.
That's exciting for us, right? Wait, so right, in the context of your life right now, right? You've got the trip to Cape Town, then maybe Zim.
Yeah.
That's exciting, right? It's like,
Yes.
oh shit, I'm looking forward to that. In the context
Yeah.
of the relationship, outside of everything else in life, was there anything that you were, oh yeah, I'm excited to do this with this person?
Yeah, see each other. For me, I'm a very simple guy, bro. I mean, I'm a very simple guy. I mean, if I'm seeing you and I'm with you, like, I enjoy the way I select a partner is that I want to enjoy being in your company, and that's it for me. That's what does it for me. Now, soon bored. It's like, bro, get out.
Okay, but then I'm sure most partners enjoy that, right? So then after they've seen you,
You'd be surprised.
Say
bro.
they've seen you 5
How
days.
many
in a week.
niggas do we have? How many mutual friends do we have who look like the happiest motherfucker ever that they're not with their girlfriends right now? Where the girlfriend texts and this guy's blood is boiling, bro. It's like, what did she say, bro? So how kati, you know, nasi text from Ufas. You know what I mean? Like, you would be surprised how many people don't actually like their partners. It's not that common.
But in the same way that we may be boys, right? So say you come to Cape Town, and I'm like, Tabo, this weekend, all we're going to do is just going to chill at home and watch TV.
Yes.
It's exciting for a while, right? But then after a little bit, you're like, all right, my guy, like, can we, like, hit the club or something? You know, let's do something.
Nah, I disagree.
That would be fun.
No. I feel like that's not an accurate. I don't think that's an accurate depiction of what you say.
Okay, wait. I think
Of
as
what we're
guys, we
discussing.
get it in the context of friendships. No. I think as guys, we get it in the context of our own friendships, right? Ukuthi, nxa sihleli sesiyi-two lapha, the whole day just watching series, we're going to get bored, right? And then at some point, we've spoken about so much. There's so much that we can catch up on. At some point, we'll be like, actually, let's get in the car and go do something, right? Guys will always be keen with their boys. Let's hit the club. Let's hit Mavericks. Let's hit Kunye. Let's hit Rands or Mzolis or whatever, or the club or the beach. We get it in the context of our boyfriend, or let's go watch the game, right? Something as simple as that. Because we understand, it's not a good time. But then when we're out, it's going to be a good time. But then when she says it, then all of a sudden we're surprised with, I'm with you all the time. What else do you want? No, she also wants to have something to look forward to.
I mean, okay, fair enough. For the purposes of this discussion, I think I will submit and I'll agree with you. Okay, I guess there has to be something we look at. But then also, yeah, I think maybe I was just the wrong guy, you know, because my outlook was just kind of like, hey, bro, listen, I'm focused on the bag, I'm focused on school, and so should you. You know what I mean? Like, ogunye local, like, we'll catch up. Like, once we have money, bro, like, once, you know, we're free to do whatever, then we can catch up with all this other shit, you know? Of which we did, and here's the thing, we did things within what we could do. Go to the movies, go out, you know, parties, and, you know, different things. You know, so it wasn't like a sihlezi endlini type of thing. We did stuff. We, you know, And it was a point to go and do different things and see a different place and travel to certain places and stuff like that. So things were certainly done, but it was just kind of like, I feel like what she was saying was, more so in the relationship is not like you're saying, Uti, those what did you call them, checkpoints? Uti, we're building
renewal
towards,
points, checkpoints. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, okay, so that definitely the marriage thing wasn't there because niggas ain't speaking about that, right? So there wasn't anything there was no anchor that she could hold on to say, oh, okay, siala. I'll definitely admit that there was no, that wasn't there.
Okay.
We're dating and it's a siya charter type of, what I mean. As soon as we're done with school, this is the thing, and then we're moving, we're introducing to parents and this. Nah, that wasn't happening. That just wasn't the thing. It was just kind of. For me, it was living in the moment. I've got a girl, and we hang out together, we go out together. This is my best.
And you're just like, let me just get through this.
Yeah, for me, it's like, no, we can't make any commitments. Like, let's live here. Our reality is what? Is school. So let's do school. And then at the same time, we're each other's, besties. We're each other's emotional support. Like, that's kind of how I was happy with that. But obviously, she wasn't. And yeah, I guess women tend to be planners more so. To be like, listen, I'm trying to be here knowing, Wuti, there's a destination that we're going. Whereas I'm good with getting in the car and just, hey, where I end up is where I end up. Like, depending on the situation. If I'm in school and it's like, I know that's where I'm going, but in terms of this relationship, it doesn't need to have a direction. Eventually, some shit will come up. That's the mentality that I had, at the time. And I think a lot of guys have that mentality. You're like, nah, I'm not trying to think about that shit. There's more important things to think about than, what do you mean from chat, bro? Like, hey, this is we're sophomores, bro. It's year 2. What do you mean, dog? Like, nah, relax. But I mean, anyway, that I think you explained it really, really well. Guys, add us and let us know why you think honeymoon phases died. Do you think Senna was right on the money, or do you think there's another factor that we didn't discuss when it comes to honeymoon phases? Let me see here. Right. Actually, let's do a drunk topic before the. No, actually, we'll finish with this one. So you said you're not keen for a white wedding.
No, that wasn't me. I was talking to one of my brothers today. With no, I'm going to attend a friend's wedding, blah 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 blah, and then he goes, hey, yeah, abanye abantu angazi ukuthi imali bayithatha boyisibindi basta, something along those lines. And I was like, how? And then because he's been like, how can I put it? He did his lobola things a couple years back, and since then he just hasn't like gotten around to doing the whole mcimbi thing, mainly because it's just like such a huge financial hassle. Even though the girl really wants it, it's like, yo, tiko, why, ngfelani, type of thing. And he's really not the only one. Like, it's a very big and common theme amongst a lot of guys that I know personally, especially from Zim, which is just like, I have done my logola things, hands up, loko sabona pambili, right? It's just like the white wedding that our parents' generation used to have with the gown and the suit and the coke and coleslaw and chicken and all that nonsense. People aren't doing it anymore. Like, and I used to think when I was a kid I attended so many weddings, but as an adult, I can't, like, I cannot remember the last time I attended. It was probably 10 years ago. My uncle's wedding, I attended a wedding, proper, like, civilly white wedding with the white dress and the suit and anything, and I'm like, how? I think
7 years for me, bro.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, it was every year someone was getting married.
Twice a year, December. Bro. Friends come to, hey, when you're a couple chatting, you go, Lasa chatting, hey, uncle's getting married. Oh, so,
Right.
it was all this shit always happening. Yeah, wedding committee meeting in Lini. So logo. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly,
I
exactly.
completely like, hear you. It was literally it's like shit has dried up. I've just chalked it up to maybe I'm just not home. But like I think after 2010,
Potentially.
I have attended 2 weddings, maybe 3. 2 that I definitely remember. And then my boy's sister got married, I think 2016, not 2015, 2015 or 2014. And then my uncle got married 2018. One of my uncles got married 2018. And that's it. In terms of past 2010, that's all I remember. Maybe there's another one I'm forgetting. But like literally 2, bruh. Compared to 2000 to 2010, easily, maybe 6 weddings. Easily. I'm sure I'm even forgetting something. 6 including my own parents. But like, actually no, my parents was in the 90s. Never mind. But yeah, it's. I think I don't know. Personally, I'm telling you guys from experience, the shit ain't worth it, bro. The shit ain't worth it.
Tower basically said, "You're fine, stay there."
Yeah, no, honestly, no, white weddings in terms of, and again, we'll bring this up again, when we talk we're back on the podcast in like 2 weeks or whatever, right? As of right now, I'm speaking as a man that has, is mentally and financially exhausted, right? So this is why I'm like, check, bro. So who knows? Maybe the happiness on the other side, and this is me I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about a wedding, a white wedding, right? We're talking about that specifically. And yeah, and at this point, I'm like, the emotional toil, the emotional damage that I have, dealt with in the last year or so. I don't know if I'm gonna get that back in happiness on the day. That's a very, very tall order. It's so, Senna, it's so much. I mean, half the shit. Like it's like all the conversations with parents, and then both sides of the family have to agree, and then it's like, okay, what if family A does things this way, family B does these things this way, and then it's like, it's a political exercise because you can't make the decisions by yourself. Usibani like has to
By
weigh
yourself.
in, because if you just decide with your rights and local, it's like, hey, that's very disrespectful. Hey, blah, 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 blah. Hey, I'm like, bruh. Like it's all this shit where you're just like, but guys, there's and this is where you see some of the loopholes in our culture, where it's like, guys, we cannot continue to be led by culture and concepts that were built to serve a certain time. And we are, how many decades past that time? Certain things need to be adjusted.
secular.
We cannot do, or when like obviously if you were getting married, early 2000s and shit like that, a wedding committee, for example, right, it was important because the family comes together, discuss as notice and uzibani bani uyachata usani uyachata, lo $10 lapha, $20 lapha, and that shit, in a functioning economy, would go a long way, right? But we chat this, but then today it's like, hey, bro, things are peaking, right? Things are peak. And then you can't call together relatives and then give people, I don't know, X amount of say when that individual is contributing, $20. Like it just certain things where it's like, bro,
Or none at all.
I get it. Or not at all. Exactly. It's like, I get it. I love you. Appreciate you for caring, bro. But, it's 2022. There's much, much more efficient ways to go about these things. And you just, imagine telling your family, no, guys, I got this. Sit back and relax. That's disrespectful. I'll wait. Nah. You can't tell us to just pull up to your wedding, dog. Nah. And I'm just like, okay, sharp. So these things where it's like, you have these, and no one tells you about this shit until you're in it, obviously. Because if I knew, the shit that I know now, I'm like, check. And also a tip to everybody, tip to Senna, a tip to anybody and everybody who's thinking about getting married. if you are from Zim, right? If you're from Zim, don't get married in Zim. Just don't do it. Let me put an asterisk.
If you're not,
let me put an asterisk.
Yes.
If you want a small, simple, straightforward wedding, do not come home. Do not do it. You're playing yourself. No, you're going to have 50 people or 100 people. Listen, it's a mura, dog. It's a mura. Like, put your wedding in Mauritius. You don't even do Joburg because niggas, that's one bus away. Make niggas think twice about that shit. Gotta go to Cape Town. Gotta catch 2 Greyhounds, one to Joburg and then another out of from
Actually,
I
told an aunt of mine the other day, Uti, if I'm ever going to get married, just prepare yourselves because I'm not doing it in Zim. If I'm still based, obviously if I'm based in Zim, I'll do it in Zim. But if I'm based, say in Cape Town, I'll just do it here. Honestly, yeah.
No, honestly, save yourself the stress.
But just to ask quick, do you think the reason for the decline is economic, or is it that people are now more woke? I'll say woke, like in quotes, in terms of they're more in tune with their Africanness and they don't see the need to necessarily have a white, in quotes, wedding, or they just feel like a traditional ceremony is sufficient. Even then, like, people aren't even having like big traditional babies. It's literally just families come together, they shake hands, and then Rora Day done.
Yeah, I mean, people are having like cakes and parties and shit like that, and it looks nice, but it's like a nice, 20, 30, 40, 50 person thing, like just kind of very basic, very straightforward, which I think is efficient because I think, one, it's an economic thing, because these big weddings, like, I had a friend of mine, not a friend, a colleague, who told me a budget yak, chat, and I was like, yo, like, I thought mine was overboard, but hers was north of $50,000.
$50,000.
Oh, 50,000 Joe Biden's, dog.
That's like
$800K, right? I sat there, dude. I was shook. I was like, for real? She's like, yeah, for real. And that was after making a lot of concessions. I was like, no, me, I can't, dog. Like,
almost $1 million rand in charter.
Bruh, for one day, dog. For one day. And I was like, nah.
Where's he from? So, if you don't mind me asking.
From Nigeria. So obviously, Nigerians are ballers.
They do big.
They do big things. But like, even so, bro. Even so, I think it's economically, it doesn't make any sense because you're probably not going to recover that money, right? You might recover a third, maybe 2/3 of it, but it's not, in my opinion, financially, it's not worth it. I think if you do a white wedding, you're doing it because you've always dreamt about having it, and that's what you wanted to do, and you're going to be happy, right? So that's why you do a white wedding. But you cannot tell me that economically that shit makes sense. It just doesn't. And again, it's not me saying don't do them. I'm just saying my advice to you personally, if you're from Zim, dog, don't do it in Zim. If you want to keep as much control as possible and as much economic control as possible, do it elsewhere, where the hotel will tell you, right, you can come to Seychelles, it's going to cost you $15,000, we'll put 20 chairs, and voila, we'll give you a pasta for free. Right, call mommy, daddy, siblings, Kokolo, Antilo. Any other friends want to pull up? Guys, here's the location. Who's pulling up? Simple. Not a lot of, And what's killing me? So a friend of ours hit me up on Insta, and I knew he wasn't going to make it to the wedding. I knew, really, even thinking about him. Yeah, but he hit me up and like, hey, Kanti, why am I hearing on the streets Uti we are chat? And I'm there like, First of all, right, my guy, my nigga, ain't this and this happening in your life right now? He's like, nah, but still, Vele benfuna invite so that I can say no. Like at the end of the day, bro, like what do you mean? Like if I already know that Usena is nursing a baby, he's just had a baby. And I'm like, right, and Sena's never gonna make it to my wedding. Why am I inviting Sen? I mean, like, it's like, I know you're not coming, dog. Like, I don't have time and capacity to have fake invites. Like, that's just, with Alice. Again, my parents, they did have that attitude. No, so and so won't come, but let's just send them an invite. I'm like, why though? Like, I already know you're seeking asylum in America, nigga. Why am I sending you an invite? Why am I sending you an invite, bro? Like, literally, I'm tempted to call fucking locals in Homeland Security and be like, this nigga's in New York. His visa expired in 2015. I'm running him Tata because honestly,
why are you stressing me?
No, like Oguye is like, no, come on, guys. Like this doesn't make sense. Which is why I'm saying, no, honestly, I love my peoples, love them to death. But Oguye, it's like, save yourself the stress. Go to a nice location, go to a beautiful place, and have a nice small wedding with the people that you love. Unless if you're clout chasing, then absolutely go to them, have your wedding there, and all that other shit. But me, do it all again. We're going to Mauritius, dog. We're going to Seychelles. Like that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. But yeah, because even Dubai weddings are expensive, bro. Yeah, bro. Get some quotations here. You like Jack, bro. You'll see your annual income in the Arab there. You're like, value higher.
And then
annual income for venue hire, bro. Like, nah. This city is a madness, bro. I was like,
yeah. So that's why my question was, so abantu, is it economic? Is it just people don't want the hassle? Is it more in tune with you realize that culturally? Because I think, to be honest, I think a ceremony where parties from each family come together for a celebration, that builds, I think, ubuhlobo in a way in which I think is important, because I look at some people that have gotten married, I won't say in my side of the family, but let me say in my side of the family, who gotten married and then not had the whole mcimbi, right? What's consequently happened is this: I have no idea who they married, like none whatsoever. Like, not the name of the spouse, but her family. Like back in the day, dude, I knew Bani married who, and these are her sisters, this is her family, this is Mang ngahlangana la etown ngathi sawubona sihlobo kunjani, how are you, relative now, if I need a favor, we're fine. If we're having family gatherings, they also come through because they're part of the family now. But nowadays, I always feel like, because everyone just does the Lobola thing with 5 people there and then it's like done without like a big sort of celebration or ceremony, I have no idea who the other family consists of. Like if I bump into...
That's a very good point.
If I bump into
that's a very good
her sister in town, next thing I'm spitting bars, Ganti how now? I have no idea.
Because I think can sing is slow.
Can sing cousin. And
not that a wedding would stop niggas from that, but
and one day I'll tell you, maybe Ofe, I'll tell you a story about how, I just had to look at my own life and just be like, okay, are we sure? Are we safe and clear from any relations? Because you come to a point where you meet someone, that's ukhuluma, maybe you have similar backgrounds, maybe even share a surname, Nandi utolo how maybe you might know Mang. But because maybe Mang didn't have a big ceremony or wedding, we never met, and when they're introducing relatives, that thing is important, right? At a wedding, when they're like, we see him. That's important, my guy. So I know him, right? Now I know, but if I come across this chap, let me tell you. So you know thing at Cubana, right? I always tell you about how Ulokuzeni Cubana is the manager there. This is what happened. Live jive, like we had a party for Q's first birthday, and then my sister invited him. I'd never met him, right? I didn't know him. So I think he showed up, and because at the party we all stand up, we speak, we sing for Q and whatever. I had a T-shirt on. A few months later, I'm at Cubana. I didn't have a table, nothing. And then this big guy comes to me. He's like, "Hey, son, kumbuli." I'm like, "Who the fuck is this nigga?" I'm like, "Huh?" Like, nah. You have to remember. Like, isihlobo sakho sazi. I'm like, isihlobo sami. I'm like, bombo clat. This is hard. Okay, cool. So then he comes to me. He's like, "No, man, Q's party." I'm like, "Oh, you are that guy who came with the big car and the kid. Oh, yes, you, my guy." He's like, "No, my guy, we are family." And that's how
we are family.
And since then, it's like whenever we need anything, we hit him up. Whenever we have something, he comes through. But see, if we hadn't had a party where he saw me laming Suguma as Malume, he wouldn't have.
You'd have never met him.
At the club, you'd have just been one of those niggas. And then maybe you'd have even chucked me out. God damn. And that's what I'm saying. At times, those ceremonies are important. Because then, Suguma lawe, I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, all right." Then I see you in the taxi. I'm like, "I know, I might even carry your bag." But our cousins are married. And we're just chilling in the bus, not talking to each other. In a way. But I think that it plays an important role in uniting families in that way. So I hope the art of third weddings is not dead. Personally.
I agree. So, get married quickly, Senna, so that it's not. By the time that you get married, we don't want to be like, we don't do that here anymore. But it's definitely it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress.
Oh yeah, nice.
One of my boys got married today. Shout out to Sean. Got married today. But his wasn't like one of them huge items. But even he was texting me on some this shit is stressful. And it's like, it's just one of those things where you just have to be committed to the fact that, I think for me, I plan to have the most fun ever. Because it's going to be me and keep it stressed. Like, for every day I was pissed. Every day, I was annoyed about some shit.
Things went
y'all are going to see. Yeah, no, y'all are gonna see on my face, with my dancing and everything. Like, it's just, I wanna take that day to be like sharp. I'm getting value for money. There's no way I'm not gonna get value. All that shit. No, absolutely, dog. Everything, absolutely everything. But no. I think that was a good discussion. We'll come back to it. In 2 weeks' time. See how things go. Also, this thing of I'm a plus one. I don't have time today, but everyone thinking you're just entitled to a plus. I'll chat down up and it's just J will pay, like you must show up with a plus. I'll tell one.
But I have someone who actually, I had a conversation with someone and that brought some clarity to me. In the sense that some people don't want to be in that space with so many people by themselves. You always want to have someone that you can always go back to when the chats get awkward, and then you're not wondering where to chilling in the corner as that awkward man.
True.
You have someone that you're with.
For those individuals, yes, I understand the significance of a plus one. So, like, one of my friends is coming from the States. Right, and initially she was like, "Yo, is it cool if I come with my sister?" Because I completely understood that, right? Because
they wouldn't know a single person there.
Exactly. Nobody knows her. We went to uni together. Like so literally it's just me. She's my homie. And the whole day I'm probably gonna speak to her maybe once. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be cool if she's just there, like a single. You know what I mean? So in that
Yeah.
in that aspect, I completely understand. But and obviously, you know, he knows I love him. But Pips came at me, bro. And he's like, hey, yo. I'm literally Pips is part of the squad. The squad's invited to the wedding. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like this nigga knows
He's gonna be by
at least
himself.
25 people there. So even if you're getting a single invite, you know the gang is there. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not, even when I got invited to one of my boys, his sister's wedding, the squad was invited. So I pulled up. You know, I was asking, yeah, where are because hey, the squad's like, hey, we pulling up. I'm like, are we pulling up? Right? So no pressure. Pipsy comes like, chief, so chuck me a +1 bill. There's a thing that I'm pulling up with. Washa wachima, I'm like, so this hand, animas, she doesn't know me. She don't give a fuck about me. I don't give a fuck about her. But ngoba ulo Pips subi emtshadweni wami. Nah, guys, like yeah, no. Like listen. Let's be serious about some things. You know, I think if it's your hand, okay, I'm willing to listen. Let's hear the particulars of your situation, especially if it's like if you're just my friend. Literally, we work together in Dubai. It's like, okay, can me and my girlfriend come? Oh, okay, cool, sharp. I can understand that. But don't tell me you're a member of the squad and you want to join a yape and it's like, can she pull up? Nah.
So please explain to the people what a yape is, for those who didn't listen to the earlier episodes and those who may be unfamiliar with the term yape.
Oh my god, a pay is it's your lady friend. That's all I can say. Not a sex worker, right? Like, but just kind of, you know, the person that you're vibing with, but there's no future. That's what a yape is. There's no
Talk la future.
You're not. No. You're not in a talking stage. Fundamentally speaking, for you to be a yape, you are not in a talking stage. There is no future. You're not working towards a relationship. It's literally, you know, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. That's what a yape is at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So, you know, like, yeah, I'm not paying money for you to bring your yape to my wedding. Unfortunately, I love you, always will, but nah, it won't fly.
It ain't happening.
Unfortunately, it ain't happening, fam. It ain't happening. Oh yeah, abanye. No, yes. I think I'd like to think I'm a rational guy. I'll listen to you. I'll hear you out, and then, you know, I'll cuss you out afterwards. That's pretty rational. You know, that's pretty rational. But let me see this. I thought there was one last thing that I had here. Yeah, real quick before we finish. There was a tweet going around, and people were expressing themselves. Toa, how far have you gone for? In this case, how far have you gone for Cooch, Mr. Moy?
How far have I traveled?
How far have you traveled? Yes, for the sole purpose of Cooch.
Well, I mean, if you're in a long distance relationship, right? Does that count?
Nah. I don't think that. Give me a non-relationship situation. Just the reason I'm here is for cheeks. That's what I want.
I probably no, it's not that bad actually. I drove. It's not. I don't have a bad type of thing. I probably drove about 50 k's. It's
50?
not much. Yeah.
50 is long, bro. But okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean,
man, no,
it's not too bad.
I know a story that we're about to read out now, which killed me. Killed me.
I don't have the tweet. I don't have the tweet in front of me.
We are let me fugula the item.
Fugula the item. In the meantime, fugula the item.
what do you mean? I myself, I'm going to be laughing at this one.
I mean, I've crossed oceans, but my caveat is I wasn't there for that. I was coming home, and you were also part of my itinerary. I think that's the difference with me. That's how I justify it to myself. Yes, you were a priority, but on the transcript it was what? It was Tabo was coming home. That's the key difference. But in terms of me just fully, I don't know. Fuck.
You were just
for
like
12 hours, bro. Yeah.
12 hours is a lot.
Cross border nge bus, bruh. Yo.
Hey. Azi, that time ufike Bait Bridge. Usufike Bait Bridge.
I don't know. If you've got that bus for Engi. Nah, you're powerful.
That time especially
going to Zim from Joburg. Especially that. No, you're a hero, dog. You are an absolute hero.
So one of our
City No, guys. Intercape civil wakhipha passport. Bakulayinisa phandle. You know? Bruh.
So this one wasn't specifically related to the things, I guess, but it goes, how far have you traveled for Umjolo? Then one of our very good listeners, shout out to at Wenkosi, Umazakela, as she calls herself on Twitter. She goes, I clantered to Bulawayo with a 12-hour layover in Zuri.
Yo.
So then in the comments, people are like, oh, wait, what?
Also, she missed, there's another layover. Because there's no Zurich to Bulawayo flight. There's another layover, potentially even two, depending on what happened.
So it was probably Bulawayo to Johannesburg.
It was probably Zurich, Joburg.
Yes.
And then we don't know if she then got a flight from Joburg to Bulawayo, or it could have even been a bus, which is
another 12 hours in a bus.
No, that's commitment, bro. That is Nah, women are strong, bro.
When people were asking her, she was like, what happened? Like, no, guys, move. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did it work out? It did until it didn't.
I mean, it sounds like maybe that particular trip was worth it, right? So it kind of sounds. I would like to think maybe the relationship didn't work out later on.
Yeah, no.
But that particular trip was a successful. I missed my baby. I went and I saw him. It was all good. But it just didn't work out in the end.
That guy, whoever he is, shout out. They're probably not still together, but hey, yeah, no, chief. If you listen to this podcast and you are the one, he must come and tell me
bruh. Probably used her own money even, bruh. It's like hey.
And also you can't just get there empty-handed, right? So she's probably carrying gifts as well. Maybe she bought him new sneakers or a PlayStation or something.
Dog. No, that's heavy, dog. I absolutely. I respect niggas that are able to do, get a hand to take out a loan for you. I'm like, bro, what were you saying, bro? Like, how do you? Because I literally sit sometimes, we'll be in the sitting room, and I'll look at baby, and I'll be like, if I wanted her to take out a loan for me, how would I even do it? I don't know how these men do it, bro. I'm like,
that's powerful.
I feel like I'm a pretty smooth operator, but like, alone, bruh.
And
that's.
But this was before Wi-Fi and before WhatsApp, so you are literally just going and you just get there and you wait, or you sleep, or you just chill.
Sure. No planes no TV on the planes, no movies, just vibes.
I'm curious about that. I'm curious about how she got to Bulawayo. Did she pass or did she fly? Because if she passed,
yeah, I think she's listening to the pod. She listens to this episode. Please come in. Go to did you pass or did you fly? We hope you flew.
Because
I think. I personally, if I did that and the relationship didn't work out because of the girl, oh my god, I don't know if I could ever forgive myself.
I'm getting my sheets back.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sending an invoice.
I need reparations. Yeah,
because what?
I need reparations because there's no way, dog. There's no way. It is absolutely no. The Denzel meme. I'm leaving here with something. I'm from the way. I'm leaving here with something because there's so we would deal it. It's just unacceptable, Sunny. You just cannot do it. It's wow.
Yeah, that was funny.
Could never. What's that new witty local city? It could never. Nah, man. Anyway, it's been a good one. Hopefully, this is enough to hold the people down for the next week or two. If anyone wants to come and do the podcast, we'll give you the login details. Please feel free to relax. Mr. Moy, I think I see Vale Leon Dava.
Yeah. Before
guys,
we go. Quick thoughts.
Go ahead.
Of course, been Bel-Air. Like, I was skeptical when I was watching, when they were advertising it. And they're like, Bel-Air spin-off of Fresh Prince, blah, blah, blah. And then, I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty decent. I finished it. It was, I think it fell off in the last 3 or 4 episodes. I was like, But in the first half of it, the world building, introducing the characters, Jeffrey's dope. Jeffrey's my favorite character.
I like what they did with
Jeffrey's
all of them, right? In the sense that
they
still took something from the original characters from the sitcom, and then literally just make them totally different and relatable to nowadays.
I think so. I think also, for season 2, I think they need to focus more on Ashley. I feel like she didn't really have much to do compared to everybody else. I'd like to see her story fleshed out a bit more. But I think if you're interested, definitely watch Bel-Air. Did you watch season 2 of Top Boy?
No, I have not. I need to probably go back and start season 1 again and then remind myself.
It's an okay season. I think season 1 was great. Season 2 is okay. I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
But I think watch it, and then we'll talk.
So, quick one.
I have many thoughts.
Would you recommend what's this thing called that's been trending, but then I haven't watched a single episode? Bridgerton.
Nah, I've never seen it. I don't. It's not for me, that one.
Okay.
It's really not for me. You can talk to the missus. She loves it. She's eating up season 2. I think she's probably even done it season 2, but I've never been interested in it. So yeah, I'm the wrong audience for that.
Okay. Anyways, Mr. Maps, that's it from me.
Alright, cool. Alright, guys, you know the ting. Like the ting, subscribe to the ting, retweet the ting. What else we're inclined to believe? Later. Mr. Moore.
Laters.